Caution! This is an M-rated game, so the Magical Chicken insists that viewer discretion is advised. It's time for the Middle-earth Shadow of War review for the PS4. This is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor that I reviewed back in 2024. I had a lot of fun with the original, so did this one do just as well, or is it a piece of schrock? Let's find out. There's DLC available, but I don't have it and will only be focusing on the base game. The game takes place sometime after the events in Shadow of Mordor. It's not canon to the Lord of the Rings books, but takes elements from the world and creates its own story. You don't have to have an understanding of the world to play, but you'll enjoy it more if you do. At the beginning of the game, Talion, with the help of the wraith Celebrimbor, head to Minas Ithil to help fight against an orc army attempting to capture the city. This is an open-world third-person RPG. Each area of play is quite large, but they aren't seamlessly connected. Because Talion and the wraith are one, he is able to perform certain powerful actions against his foes, but most of his abilities he had in the original game aren't available until you level up or progress the story. Each area has the main quest available, but you are free to take your time with side quests or basic fights and hunts. The enemies are mostly different types of grunt soldiers that are fairly easy to take down. The captains, on the other hand, are the foes you'll want to focus on. These are powerful orc leaders that usually won't succumb to your basic sword strikes. Each captain has a handful of strengths and weaknesses, and doing your homework before challenging one is your best option. To do so, you'll need to use your wraith power to view the wraith world. Here you can view all orcs and creatures within your range of sight, and some of the orcs you find are worms which can hold details of the captains. Again, you'll need to use your wraith powers to subdue the worm and interrogate him to get the information you need. You can choose any captain you want information on, but only one worm will give you info on one captain, so you'll need to interrogate more worms for more information. Once you have said information, exploiting a captain's weakness against him can make the fight much more manageable. Going in blindly isn't always the best outcome, since some captains are completely immune to certain attacks, while others could be at full health, but one stealth attack could be their undoing. All the orcs are part of the Nemesis system, the game's risk-reward platform for the player. If you're able to take down a captain, they'll drop gear that can range from common to legendary. A gear's tier ranking can hold more and more bonus attributes the higher tier rank it is. Depending on your playstyle, you may come across a higher level piece of gear, but its attributes don't fit as well as your current one. Like here, this armor has more defense, but the bonus attribute on my current set fits my playstyle much better. You can give even more bonuses to gear by slotting one of 3 types of gems into them. I like this since the bonus type differentiated by which type of gear the gem is slotted in. You can go even further by combining like gems to create larger ones, which in turn would give you an even better bonus. Now, that's all the good stuff if you defeat a captain. If you don't, however, that orc will gain a level, making them more difficult to defeat the next time you encounter them, plus any other captains that were a part of the fight will level up too. If a lowly grunt kills you, they will be promoted to captain status, giving them captain attributes as well as an armor aesthetic upgrade. The captains have been given an upgrade over Shadow of Mordor in that some can ambush you at any time, making you the prey instead of the hunter. You won't get far without unlocking skills, and thankfully this game has many more to choose from. Further still are the sub-skills that can take an unlocked skill and enhance it in a certain way. It may look like it would take a long time to unlock all that you'd want, but you can obtain a skill point just for completing certain missions and not have to solely rely on leveling up. There's 2 drawbacks with this though. One is that some skills require you to be a certain level to unlock, so in some cases it may be better to save your skill points and wait until you're at a minimum level to use them. And I'll talk about the second drawback later in the review. One skill you'll unlock as you go through the story is recruiting orcs for your army. This puts an interesting spin on the game and makes you think twice about running your sword through a grunt or not. He could be more helpful on your side than dead. Doing the same to captains is possible, but unlike a grunt, they first have to be broken by wearing their health down, and they can't be a higher level than you. If you dominate a higher level captain, the option for recruiting won't be active, and you'll get to choose to finish them off, or shame them, which will keep them alive, but their level will be reduced. This can be a good tactic to choose if you really want that captain on your side. Just like Shadow of Mordor, this isn't the best looking PS4 game I've played, but it's not bad. There were a few glitches here and there, but nothing game breaking. Sometimes I was in a mosh pit with many orcs trying to gut me, but I didn't experience any slowdown. The controls were fine for the most part, although there were instances where what I was trying to perform wouldn't register. Like here, I'm trying to leap down, but I target this orc instead. Or here, I'm trying to mount my Catagor, but I keep targeting others. This didn't happen all the time, but was quite annoying when it did. One thing about the controls I liked was that the camera would snap to a target instantly when I went to aim the bow, and it would do this if I had the target near the center of the screen before I pulled the bow out. Many of the missions are collection-based, but there are some that let you play as Celebrimbor when he was alive. These are fun and generously reward the player if they can meet all the bonus demands of each mission. But here's where I'll talk about the second drawback. Every mission you complete can reward you with a skill point, and because there's many to take on, unlocking skills isn't that difficult, which in turn can make the game a little too easy or even stale, especially if you're not on a higher difficulty setting. For me and what I want, I think the game is a little too generous in dishing out skill points. Perhaps if it didn't reward you with these when you complete any collection mission, as these are easy enough. Others may think differently, and that's okay, but after playing through 3 times, I think obtaining skill points shouldn't be this easy. One feature of the game is taking control of fortresses. Capturing one takes certain strategies that you can get by placing dominated captains on the front line. In addition to the single-player campaign, fortresses are actually a part of the online gameplay experience. Once you get past a certain point in the main story, you'll be able to attack another's fortress, which can yield quite the spoils of war if you succeed. Make sure to bolster your own as best you can, since others will target you too. The orc captains have many lines of dialogue that I never heard more than once. Most are brutal in their descriptive speech, but some are quite funny.
Don't know when we'll meet again, but I'll be ready and you'll be ready.
There's a few boss fights sprinkled in, but they don't have the risk-reward as traditional boss fights. They're more of a break from the regular gameplay, which is kind of nice. The main agenda is seeking out, defeating, or dominating captains for your benefit. In the original game, there were only 2 main areas to play in, but this game more than doubles it, and fighting your way through Mordor with an army of your own is so much fun. This is one of my all-time favorite games, and other than the awkward control situations and the game being a little too eager in giving out skill points, it's still an amazing game, and one that any fan of RPGs would enjoy, even if you don't know anything about the Lord of the Rings universe. This game gets a 4.75 out of 5 with the title of Epic.